Tour Junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? It is sweet South Korean Prince Siwoo Kim, Sony Open week. We love you, Siwoo. Siwoo is your defending champion this week at the Sony Open, and we are pumped. This is going to be a Siwoo, dedication service. Both podcasts tonight, the DFS show, the betting show, this one. We're going to do some Siwoo giveaways. Got a giveaway in this show. Got a giveaway in the next show. So stay tuned for that. God, Pat, I'm excited. You know what else I'm doing? I'm drinking podcast juice tonight, baby. I didn't do that last night. I'm drinking some vodka.
No, last week you were keeping it
Yeah.
You were keeping it on the down low, but I've got a beer.
Okay.
It's like a it's a local brew, but it's like kind of like a Belgian wheat, sort of like what is that, a Blue Moon kind of like beer? I don't know.
I'm going for the hard stuff tonight. I am excited about your Siwoo homage in the next show, and I want to be real lubed up, maybe borderline face numb for that. I think it could be really good.
I'm not excited about it.
Oh, you're not? What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, but I feel like sometimes you know when you're being set up for failure. And I mean, the listeners are just going to have to wait.
Yeah.
But they'll probably agree with me. So
we got a great show tonight. Like I mentioned, we're going to get to our outright picks, going to get to some top 20, 6-packs, to 4 locks, 2 bombs. All good. Presented to you by our friends at SoBet. Damn, I had a good week at SoBet. I had a really good week at SoBet last week, Pat. The SoBet exclusive plays crushed last week. 3.5 unit week for me over there on SoBet. I'm doing the Mary F. Kill bets over there every week. I had a live bet on Sahith at top 10 before round 4 that hit. That was easy. The round robin started off nicely, got 3 out of 5 there, but told folks to bet them individually, all plus money. Crushing over there on SoBet. I'm pumped about the NFL playoffs on SoBet. Obviously, really good handicappers over there doing the damn thing. Link is in the description. If you haven't joined, use promo code TJ Trial to get that first month for free, where all the best handicappers are at, every sport imaginable. And you know what? SoBet makes them defend the play. Why do we bet this? Why are we betting this? And give us how many units, right? And then they make you recap it. So even if you suck, even if the plays suck, you still got to go back and recap and say you suck. Not a lot of platforms do that. SoBet does. We love them. This is their second year partnering with the Tour Junkies, and we appreciate it. So check that out. Other highlights for the week, Pat. I mean, we had the Sahith. We had the Sahith sweat. I had Sahith on the card at 66-1. And 2 years in a row, we both get boned. We get boned out of an outright at the Sentry. I mean, Sahith's. I mean, it was okay. Let me say this. I really enjoyed the Sentry. Now, I did miss Jon Rahm. I wish Jon Rahm would have been there, but I enjoyed it. I love Kapalua. I love the variety that Kapalua offers to some extent. We had a good race. There was so many guys that could have won that thing on Sunday. But a couple things. First of all, shout out Chris Kirk. I mean, I like Chris Kirk. You should like Chris Kirk. He's the one that we talked about it last week.
Yeah, love him.
Set you into your 91 unit 2023 with the win at the Honda last year. Georgia Bulldog, good dude. Lives right down the street from me in Athens, hour and a half away. Dude, his tempo down the stretch on a Sunday at the Sentry was, I mean, it was orgasmic. Yeah. How good is that? Like, that dude just, I'm watching it like, God, it's so mesmerizing. And I know he's got good tempo, but dude, he hit a 1-yard tight ass draw on every hole on Sunday, I felt like.
Yeah, he has got, not only is the tempo just like, if you're like learning to play golf and you ever want to watch a video of just like, oh, what is good tempo? Watch Chris Kirk, but also his demeanor.
Yeah.
Like, does his, just, what does his heart rate even get to? Like, it can't be like, I mean, I don't know. It's like me sitting there watching HGTV or something. I don't know. I mean, there's something. It's just he's
do you
just.
do that? Do you do that?
I watch HGTV sometimes.
What do you watch?
Various shows, like
home or garden shows or both?
Well, there's the hot blonde Christina.
I don't know her, but okay.
Sells LA.
Is
Whatever.
she a gardening blonde? Or,
No,
or a home blonde?
State. Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know. She doesn't garden.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's. Let me ask you this: it's his 6th win on the PGA Tour. Now it took him a long time to get that the Honda win.
Yeah.
Is this kind of a big win? Do you consider this a big win?
Yes, I consider it a big win for him. I think it's a great jump start to his season. I think you could easily see him win again this week, to be honest. So, and he just, we saw it last year with the Honda, and it kind of, I think something like when you finally get to that point, like after all he went through and he got that win at the Honda, I think things kind of, maybe, I don't know, it makes it a little bit harder to get that second win. But now that he's gotten that, and I say second win, like second win since that Honda win, which I thought was a pivotal win for him. So this is big. And when the guy has like all the tools like he has, if it's on the right course fit, I definitely think you could see another win from him, maybe 1 or 2 more this year.
If a guy like that who can keep it that calm, cool, and collected under pressure and is just that level and can close the door on a golf tournament, if he wins another one and it's like a semi big one, if it's a little semi, I think you can start calling Chris Kirk kind of a killer, kind of a silent assassin. He's not going to intimidate you with flash and flare and some, overpowering thing that he does so well. But if he does it again,
is he the Southern Max Homa? Because we always say Max Homa is a killer on the golf course when he's in contention.
Yeah, he could be a Southeastern Homa.
Mm-hmm.
The second observation I had was Sahith's chip on 18 has got to be better. That was so piss poor. His calling card is short game.
Oh, he'll tell you that's the best part of his game.
I'm like, this is when he hit the fairway on 18. I'm like, this is an automatic birdie. If he doesn't put this thing in the ditch, the big ditch on the left, this is a birdie. It could be an eagle if he stuffs one, like my boy Xander did to get that top 10 for me. Thank God. But that chip on 18 has got to be better. If that is your calling card and you are playing like arguably the course on the PGA Tour that is best suited for you, that allows you to just hit the ball wherever on just all over the world, you've got to hit that chip tight. And I know he lifted out. He hit it to like 9 feet or whatever. That chip has got to be 3 feet or tighter if you're Sahith. That was very disappointing.
But wasn't Jordan playing? Was Jordan with Sahith?
No, I don't think so. Jordan
was he the group app? Jordan
was after him.
No, Jason Day was with Sahith.
Jason Day was with him.
And Day, who has a pretty good short game too,
did the same.
Kids even
after seeing Sahith.
Yeah, he saw Sahith. Day did the same thing. Day's was probably worse. I thought Sahith's second shot was really kind of bad. With what we were seeing,
it was a
Xander shot into that hole. Like, I mean, not that he's going to hit it to 3 feet or whatever like Xander, but I didn't think that shot was pretty good either.
It was a little bit of a last-minute bailout to the right.
Yeah, it was.
All right, producer Tony, we talked about him being a part of the show this year. Pumped to have him on. If you guys enjoyed the chapters in the YouTube last week, you can thank producer Tony. You got any thoughts, Tony, on the tournament or anything else?
Oh, there we go. No, not on the tourney, fellas. I wanted to, when we get into Siwoo Kim, as you said, being kind of the new guy around these parts, I just want to get a little bit of the backstory as to the love fest for Siwoo, as to why we've got the shirts. As a wrestling fan of the 90s, I absolutely love the shirts that you guys are rocking there. So some of the graphics, our YouTube thumbnails and all that absolutely put a smile on my face this week. So what's the backstory with backing Siwoo so much?
Shout out Toby on our graphics. He's crushing it. The lore of Siwoo began a couple years ago as we started to become tighter and tighter friends with some caddies on the tour and players on the tour. And just, you know, over dinner talking about guys who they found interesting or electric or guys they like to be paired with or whatever. And you just start to accumulate story after story about funny things that Siwoo Kim says or does. And then when you marry that with what you do see as a normal consumer, as a fan, you know, if you're on property, you could catch a helicoptered wedge after a bad shot. Quite likely on tour. I would say he probably is, good for one of those every 3 tournaments or so. We all saw him break his putter on 15 at Augusta a couple years ago. He runs hot in a lot of ways. He runs hot with the temper. He runs hot when he's on. We saw him win the Players Championship. I mean, how old was he? He was like 19, 20, 21 years old at the Players. He hit a driver off the deck, won the dang Players. Nobody knew who he was. He's an aggressive player, but I would say the most of it came from the stories that we heard, and some of those we cannot repeat on the show. Some of them we have told in the Discord. That's one of the benefits of being a member of the TJ Discord. But yeah, we just we've accumulated some good stories over the years, and then gotten to know him a little bit. Very nice guy, but just electric personality out there on the golf course. Pat, would you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think I would add that I think in a small way, he sort of represents us a little bit in the way we are about golf. You know, he's very passionate about the game. He can be a little bit irreverent at times, right? But he's certainly respectful of the game. I mean, he loves the game. He likes chaos a little bit when he's out there. Like you said, like he'll just he probably doesn't have to hit driver off the deck, but he'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he didn't have to, use driver to putt, for 4 holes at Augusta National, but he did it. So, I mean, it's just, I think that's a little bit of it, is that we kind of identify a little bit with Siwoo, even though we come from different cultures, different backgrounds, and all that kind of stuff. We still identify a lot with Siwoo, and so, that's why he's our sweet prince.
Yeah, he is. We love him. Speaking of Siwoo, great transition there, Tony. Let's get to the Siwoo giveaway, Pat. Because Pat's up there in the bonus room up there, and he's got all the merch, right? He's the merch guy, and we're trying to get rid of some of this stuff, right? Some of it,
yeah.
But the Siwoo shirt that Pat has on, and we've also got a graphic for it. But Pat's rocking the original Siwoo Kim, Ric Flair combo shirt, and we're gonna give that away, and we're gonna give. How many of these should we give away, Pat? Like a handful? How many do you want to ship? Alongside some other Tour Junkies merch, what else would you throw in, Pat, on some of these packages? What would you do?
Well, I would probably throw in, put me on the spot with that. I don't know what else I'd throw.
I mean, I know we got some beer sleeves.
I would probably, beer sleeves with the Siwoo shirt. I feel like that's a good combo.
That is a good combo.
And so I'm thinking maybe like 3, maybe 4 shirts.
Okay, so 3 or 4 shirts this show. We're going to do a different giveaway for the DFS show. So there's actually 2 ways to enter. So surprise on you, Pat. So in honor of our sweet South Korean prince and him defending at the Sony this week, Siwoo Kim giveaway is going to be, all you got to do is for this show to enter is leave a voicemail. 706-6-ADDICT. It's Hotline Bling season. We've got the Farmers Insurance Show coming up. We want some voicemails, some listener voicemails, listener questions, suggestions. If you have punishment ideas for our Wheel of Punishment at the end of the year, the season-long bet that me and Pat announced last week, throw those in the voicemail. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to say on the voicemail, toss it in, and we will pick a few people who leave voicemails, and you will get the Siwoo Kim t-shirt as well as a beer sleeve courtesy of Pat Perry, and it's a beautiful prize. So do that.
And you never know. Listen, I control the shipping when it's coming from the shop over here right next to me. So I may throw in something just for the hell of it. You never know.
There you go. Before we move on to our outright picks, Pat, I did want to honor Siwoo, and I know you're going to honor Siwoo in the DFS show, and it's going to be beautiful. I can't wait. But I wrote him a poem. I wrote Siwoo a poem. And it's the first poem I've written in, I don't know, what's the last year of school you write a poem? 8th grade? 9th grade, maybe?
Maybe. It seems
probably 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So producer Tony says 3rd grade. It's been that many grades plus, and then everything after since I've written a poem. But here we go. Are you ready? I don't think I think it could be a little long, but I had a lot to say. I love him. So, Siwoo, I dedicate this poem to you. Please be respectful during the reading of the poem, by the way. Beneath tropical palms, they say, sweet Siwoo Kim in grand display, defending his title with flair. At the Sony Open, a Hawaiian affair, he struts across the fairways, the field better pray. With a swing like silk, grace defined, conquering challenges, his prowess aligned. In Hawaii's sun-drenched embrace, Siwoo's mastery sits on the face of the field. A Soko prince in flawless form, he is divine. His putter, a wand of mystic might. On the greens, his touch pure and bright. With regal poise on the course, the golf arena, his grand discourse. Bow to the prince, all others take flight. The Sony Open, a grand stage. Siwoo, undeterred, no sign of rage yet. But a helicoptered wedge doth sit at the surface, his competitive spirit hot like a furnace. The Soko prince, a club throw sage. In the sunset's warm, golden embrace, Siwoo's triumph, a radiant grace, with a beaming smile, pure delight. In the champion's glow, he shines bright. Sweet South Korean prince, a triumphant chase. What do you think of that, Pat? I kind of got goosebumps just reading it.
I am. That was amazing.
I thought I did pretty good.
You did. Yeah, I think that was amazing.
My research kind of suffered, I'll be honest today. The research suffered. I didn't get a lot of good research in. I spent a lot of time on this, but I'm proud of it. And why wouldn't I spend time on it when it's Siwoo Kim week?
Man, I tell you what. I don't think Shakespeare could have written it any better than that. Matter of fact, if I were you, I'd be putting that on a poster in print and put it on your wall.
Okay. I might try it. Maybe
Did you title it?
I didn't even title it. No, I didn't.
Title it. You got to title it.
It should just be a Soko Prince, maybe. Soko Prince.
Just
I don't know. Maybe our boy Toby can get me he can make me a nice poster design with it written out and I'll print it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That would actually be really, I didn't even think about it. And I don't know why I didn't think about titling it, but good call. Thank you. That felt good. Felt really good. All right, let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
Boy, I'm really glad I got that off my chest. I'm looking forward to the week. I thought he played good this week at Sentry. It was okay. It was better than I expected. I didn't think he was going to do very well at Kapalua. I didn't. And he held his own. He did okay. He did good. All right, let's start off with the season-long bet update and our fade. Last week, Pat Perry got to select first, which ended up being
the worst decision.
A bad thing.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a decision. It was, I was happy about it, and then it just turned out to be a bad thing.
He picked Jordan Spieth, who I believe finished a solo third for a cool 1.3 something million. Basically,
1.36. Great start for me.
It's like winning the Mexico Open. And I picked Tyrrell Hatton, who started out hot, and you were talking some smack in the Discord. Yeah, I saw you. I got tagged in it. You and Aussie DB making fun of me, doing exactly what you're not supposed to do. Early victory lapping. You don't early victory lap in DFS or golf betting or any of that. You're early victory.
You sure lap. I didn't just respond in a.
It was more CDB, but what you did respond. You acknowledged it. You're just as guilty. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm just gonna save that. I'm gonna save that post right there, just in the event something changes. Tyrrell Hatton finished 14th, I think. He made $320,000. So I'm off to about $1 million lead on you, because remember, the season-long bet, we are fading these guys. Shorter than 30 to 1. We pick one name to fade.
Yeah.
And the winner at the end of the season is going to be the person who's made less money total earnings on the PGA Tour with the fades. So I won.
These elevated events or signature, whatever the heck they are really going to have some big swings. I think when you think about,
I agree. Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, especially this one being a short field. So I can, you know, it's not like if it were a little bit different and about, the money was about the same the rest of the year, other than the majors, I might be really concerned already right off the jump. But I'm not concerned yet. Not concerned yet.
All right. All right. I'm going to pick first here. We're going to start off at the top tier. We're going to give you our outright picks we like up to 30-1, as well as the fade. And here's my fade. My fade this week is going to be the guy that I was hoping would cross the finish line for me late yesterday. And that is Sahith Theegala. I am going to bank on a couple things. A little bit of a letdown for Sahith. Hip Hop Anonymous. For Sahith, I'm going to bank on a little bit of a letdown. And plus, it's a horrible course fit. I mean, Sahith gained strokes off the tee in 3 out of 4 rounds at Kapalua, which he should do. He's longer than average, and he can spray it everywhere. So that lets him that checks that box. At the Sony Open, he has 1 start. It was in T22. It was a T20. It was in 2022. Finished T48. He lost 8.4 strokes ball striking, 4 off the tee and 4 on approach. Saved his week by gaining 8 around the greens and putting. Obviously, the Sony, little bit different setup, totally different golf course. I don't think it's going to be very conducive for Sahith. So I'm out. I'm fading Sahith Theegala, and that is my official selection. Who is your official selection?
All right. Well, you took mine. This has now happened 2 weeks in a row.
But hey, the same thing could happen.
Yeah, because I was all the reasons you said I was going with Sahith. So now I'm thrown off a little bit, and I think that I'll tell you what I'm going to do, DB. This one really, this could be so bad, but I think I'm going to go with Fitzy.
Cool. Okay.
I'm going to go with someone who's a relative favorite in the field, Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
I don't recall the last time he's even played here.
He's never played here.
So never played here. And I just don't know how great of a fit for it this course is. So I'm going to go with Fitzy.
I don't, as a Fitzy fan, played him in DFS, bet him last week, big time Fitzy fan. I don't hate it. He has, since he's added some distance, he's been a little more wild off the tee at times, I think. I don't think
approach numbers aren't that great.
Approach numbers have not been solid, at least, towards the end of last year and this past week at the Sentry. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad call. So Pat fading Fitzpatrick, I'm fading Theegala. Let's talk about who you like in this range, Pat. Give me your bets up to 30-1.
Well, I got to start with Hatton. I really like Hatton at 16-1.
Ooh, Hatton, huh?
So I am going to go with Hatton.
First timer at Sony.
He's another one who's a first timer here, but you just got to love all the things about him. When you look at his game, from approach play, from putting, all of that kind of stuff, coming off of a good week last week. I mean, heck, he shot 62 or 61 one day. So it wasn't a terrible week for Hatton, even though he said his game wasn't exactly where he wanted it to be. Also said he wasn't like that healthy in the off season. Maybe gained a little weight, but Hatton's funny because I saw a comment where they were like, you just shot 61 or whatever, 62. And he was like, yeah, but I'm just going to go with this negative thing because it kind of works for me. So I loved that quote, by the way, but I do like Hatton at 16-1. I love Corey Connors, man.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I just don't know if I ever get Connors right on an outright, but I do.
Yeah, because you've only had 2 opportunities to do it, and the first time he Monday qualified.
Well, true. But if you look at him here, he has played here pretty much every year in his career. Has 4 top 15 finishes the last 4 times he has played here. I love Connors. He's a great course fit when you look at off the tee, approach, all of those things. Obviously, the putter can be a thing with him, but Corey Connors to me is one of my favorites at 25-1. And then, I'm going to go back to to Chris Kirk at 30-1. I mean, I think Kirk can win this golf tournament. It's another course that he has played well on in the past. You know, coming off that victory, got a lot of confidence. He was third last year. You know, third T2 back in 2021.
Yep.
Love Chris Kirk. I'll go back to him at 30-1.
Poof. So, you know, one of the things that we do in the Discord every Monday morning is I do my first look outright show on Monday morning. I had a great chat today in the Discord. It's where we do some line shopping first thing on Monday, and we talk through any guys that we want to fire on right away, you know, in the event that the number shortens, and it's usually weather dependent, blah, blah, blah. It was a great chat today. We talked about Connors and we talked about Kirk. I really like Connors here as well. I think that, but I could not bring myself. This is what I compared him to when I was looking at him, because it's the putter, Pat. It's the putter, right?
I know.
I did the course breakdown video. The course breakdown video for Waialae dropped on Sunday afternoon. Went through the bet the number model. Went through the bet the number course info, and there's two things you see stand out big time when you look on the course page at bet the number: approach play and putting. Dark green in those columns. If you look at past winners, if you look at past people who finished in the top 5, top 10, top 20, a lot of green, approach play and putting. Very few guys play well and don't putt well here. And so when I was shopping Connors this morning, I told everybody in the chat, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking Connors. I'm walking up to the counter. I'm looking at the person at the counter. I'm gonna go, hey, can you hold this for me? I'm gonna walk around a little bit more. I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep shopping around. Can you hold this for me? I want to make sure if I want it, you know, I get my size. I don't want anybody else grabbing it. Can you hold it for me? And then I walk around and do some more shopping, right? By the time I was done shopping, when I went to the counter and I gave everything I wanted to get, I said, you know what? I don't think I want that. And then I said, do you want me to put it back or you want to put it back? You know, I never know what to do. Do you want me to, I feel like a butthole if I take it off the rack and then I give it to you. And should I put it back? Or anyway, I couldn't bring myself to buy Corey Connors outright. Top 5, 6-1, top 10. Sure. I just couldn't pull the trigger on Corey Connors outright because I don't trust the putter. And he's only closed the door twice on the same freaking golf course out of like fast.
Wait, he's only what?
Years. He's only closed the door on a win twice.
Oh, well, yeah. But did the person at the counter, did they tell you that he was on a little bit of a special? Or did they tell you that he had a button in the back that when he gets to the Sony Open, he sings a song about putting. That he can actually putt at the Sony Open.
I saw that. Yeah.
Because if you look at his numbers at the Sony Open, they're actually pretty good. Other than last year, they're pretty good putting on that golf course. Now, I don't know what it is when he gets on that course. So
the thing is, I went to a kind of a mid-tier store, and the young girl at the counter just didn't give a rip, so she wasn't really trying to sell me on anything. Mm-hmm. If you'd have went somewhere like high end, where I know you're probably used to shopping, then that salesperson would be like, "Oh, well, have you
upsell it a little bit?
Have you thought about this though, sir? Are you sure you want me to put that back?" Because they're actually like they actually care. So, but I went to a different store. Mm-hmm. But I do have some picks here in this range, not to just crap on your Corey Connors play. I also have an announcement. Speaking of clothing, Pat, heck of a segue. Tour Junkies has a new partner coming in for 2024, and we are fired up, boy. We're fired up. Let me tell you something. This is cool. You know, what's the, speaking of poetry, Pat, big time poetry show today. Mm-hmm. What's the poem about 2 roads in the forest or something?
Oh, that was called the road. Road, not the less traveled.
No,
right.
2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, I think is what it is.
Yellow wood. I think that's like
on a yellow road. Yellow brick. Man, I'm combining 2 things. Anyway, 2 roads converged.
I think you combined about 4 things right there.
Okay, Tony, look that up. Two roads diverged. Something. It's some road that's a colored road. They diverged. Anyway, our roads diverged back in 2016. We were a young, budding golf company, and we we were walking around the PGA show, just wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, looking around, couldn't believe what we were doing. and we bumped into two young guys, literally bumped into them, and they had some weird stuff going on. They were interesting cats, and they had started a clothing company called Swannies, and we connected, and we hit it off with these guys, and we never reconnected until now. And our friends at Swannies have blown up, dude. Since we saw those two guys, they've blown up as a staff, as a company. They're everywhere. They're putting out awesome golf apparel. They're here with a fresh take. It's performance-based materials. It's stretchy. You know, it's got plenty of stretchy. It's lightweight. This says, I'm here for a good time. And it's fabric sourced from recycled plastics and designs, sourced from their very own golf-loving weekend warriors. Swannies is looking out for both the planet and those that need a little style to boost themselves and their look a little bit. So premium looks from top to bottom, swannies.co. I also love the fact that they do obviously men, but women. They have women's stuff. They have junior stuff. My 13-year-old golf-loving son is loving the junior look. So thank you to Swannies. We can't wait to get going with them. I can't wait to get, more Swannies apparel, because I know we both already have a little bit, and I'm pumped to do it. So stay tuned for the Swannies promo code dropping. Love those guys. Excited about it. But guys that I am going to go ahead and check out on in the checkout line right now, Pat, up to 30-1 would be Chris Kirk, as you mentioned. I'm in. I'm in on Chris Kirk. And I thought about, dude, I hit Eric Van Rooyen in the fall season, but before that, the last big bet was Lucas Glover, right off a win. And I just think Kirk is the kind of guy who's just going to keep his head down and keep rolling. So this morning, if you were on the live chat, the First Look show in the Discord, he was at 35-1. We hit that at 35. Now he's down to 30. So we got some good closing line value there, and I like it. Another guy we hit, he was at 25-1 this morning on DK. The best number I see him right now is on BetMGM at 22-1. And it is a guy that doesn't have a great record here. And Waialae is a place where, I guess you want to have a pretty good record. Course history tends to start to matter. He had some good finishes a long time ago, 2017 and 2018, but since then he hasn't done much. Brian Harman. Brian Harman played outstanding at the Sentry. Gain strokes on approach and putting, those two key stat categories. Lost strokes off the tee, but as you would expect at Kapalua for a guy who doesn't hit it very far. Here, you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you look at his performance recently at the Sony, it's really bad, and it's mostly the approach play. I just don't see that continuing to happen for Harman. I think he's still rolling, and we know he can close the door, and he's a killer. So at 22-1 on MGM right now, I think that's the best number. So it's Harman and Kirk for me. Outright at this spot.
Yeah, obviously I like Kirk. It's hard to go wrong with Harman. It's really weird to me when you do look at his history here that it's not so great. But I think he's certainly a guy that can win on a course like this. So I'm with you there.
All right, let's move on up to the 75-1 range. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And drop a comment. We need, like I said, we need those betting wheel punishments for the season-long situation that me and Pat have going. We've got some good ones. We've got some ones that we are not willing to do, but we have a couple good ones. What was the one, Tony, we were talking about before the show that we thought would be funny? What was the one?
We had a couple in the comments from this week. The one that I personally liked was the hot dog. So we can adjust this a little bit. Hot dog and a bun for 77 straight days. Shout out to Mitch G 6640.
77 days. Why 77 days?
So that is the record that Joey Chestnut holds for the amount of hot dogs eaten at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
77 at the contest, but we just get to do one a day
for 77 straight days.
Oh my goodness.
Bro, I don't think I could. We got to lessen the days here for that. 77 days, dude. That's a long time.
That's a lot of hot dogs.
That's too much wiener for me, bro. I can't handle that. I'm not doing that. Don't clip that either, Tony.
Yes, clip that, Tony, right now.
Drop your comments. Tell us what betting wheel punishment suggestions you want. All right, up to 75-1. Pat, hit me here.
Oh man, why do I have to go first in this range? All right, I do like. There's a few that I like here.
We're flip flopping. We're alternating.
I'll start. Golly. All right. I'm just going to start all over the place. I don't care where these are. I'll tell you, I like Lucas Glover. 60 to 1. I think
agree.
Lucas Glover is a good play this week.
Wait, what?
What?
60?
Yeah.
Dude, listen to the people here. You know, do some line shopping, okay? Just do some line shopping. He's 75 to 1
now I'm
on
looking
points.
at he's 75 to 1 on points.
He was 75 to 1 this morning in the Discord live chat as well. And Lucas was one of the 4 early outrights we fired on. So we got him at 75 to 1 on DK. He's now at 75 to 1 on points bet, but he's dropped on DK. Completely agree.
Another one I like. This guy just always pops for me. And I think I talked about him last week. Well, no, I didn't talk about it last week, but I feel like I just talked about him. JJ Spawn at 70 to 1. I like some JJ. Now, did y'all talk about him on the First Look show? Probably not.
No. Do you, Pat? I feel like we've had this before.
I know, but man, look,
do you think JJ's gonna win? You think he's gonna win? This is a strong field.
Win.
This is the strongest field the Sony has had probably ever, and it's been here for freaking a million years.
Though, if we're looking at like even the BTN model, 11th in the model, okay, 6th.
The BTN model does not account for his sack. Can he sack up and close the door?
I don't care.
As a small person, can he close the door on a big time field with big time names?
I think he could. It's 60 to 1.
Strokes gained sack. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's like you could sit here and tell me you like Denny McCarthy, but is he going to have a sack to win? Probably not. Probably not.
No. Well, I think the only sack JJ could have is like a sack of Crystal Burgers.
That doesn't matter, man. That could be the sack that he needs to win this golf tournament.
You think they got Crystal in Hawaii, or they got White Castle?
They probably got White Castle. I doubt they have. Crystals is more of a southern thing.
Are they spam burgers? You think? You know, they do a lot of spam in Hawaii.
No.
We should do a spam thing or something. You know what we should do? We should do a challenge. We should. I hate your JJ Spawn pick.
Already, so you still owe you owe some baby food.
I haven't played golf, dude. I literally have not played golf. This is the longest I've gone not playing golf in a minute, and I don't know when I'm going to play golf again. But I will pay it off. Put it on my tab. Let's do a spam bet, and the loser of the spam bet has to take down a big chunk of spam on the next show. I've never had spam
either, so I don't even know how I'd react to it.
Spam versions.
This probably would be a good bet because we don't know how we're going to react. We could like it.
Well, I know how I will react if I don't like it because I have a gag reflex. So I will gag.
Have you ever had a Vienna sausage?
No.
Now I like a good Vienna sausage out on a boat. I'm fishing.
That's fitting. You and JJ. Okay, well,
all right, I'll take Spawn, but you get to pick somebody. But I mean, it's got to be in a similar betting range. Now, here's the thing, though. This range to me, I just don't like.
I love a lot.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't. You look at the favorites. Cam Davis coming off of a very disappointing week. When I say favorites, like in this range, you know, there's just a lot of guys that don't really jump off the page at me. Maybe Brendan Todd. I liked what I saw from him last week. He's at 55 to 1. You know, I mean, there's just not a whole lot out there. I mean, you could go Alex Noren, who had a great fall. But is he a guy you think can win?
I would trust him to win over JJ. What's his number?
See, I have Noren written down at 60 to 1.
I don't want Noren though. I am not putting a bet on Noren that involves spam. I can't.
Did you see how good
Noren
he played in the fall, though?
Yes, Noren is frustrating enough on his own. I can't add spam to the mix.
2 top 5 finishes in the fall, DB.
No, yeah, I'm good. Well, okay, if you don't have anybody else, I'll tell you who I like, and maybe we have somebody.
Go ahead.
Well, you're probably not going to agree, but you're not going to let me take these guys, but. One of the other names we talked about Harmon, Kirk, Glover. These were I told you we fired on 4 guys this morning. Those 3 and this one, JT Poston. He's 33 to 1 on MGM. He was 40 to 1 this morning on DraftKings. He's since shortened up. I mean,
I'm not letting you have Poston first spot.
I know. I knew you wouldn't, but approach play, putting contest. That's JT Poston's calling card. Now I will say that the approach play has been okay. Like he peaked in the fall a good bit. RSM Classic, I was a little disappointed, especially in his own backyard at Sea Island. He likes this golf course a good bit. He's never really had like a really good putting week where he kind of put it all together. But I think the Sentry, this is one of the I mean, he's played the Sentry before, but I like him opening his season at the Sentry and then moving to the Sony, which is a better spot for him. We know Poston's a killer when he's in contention. I mean, that shot he hit, that chip he hit, God, that literally went all the way to the bottom of the hole and then literally spun out of the hole was incredible. And he would have been a T4 or T3 finish at that point. But either way, I think Poston is certainly in play, and I think he's still a value at 33 on MGM.
Yeah.
So I like him. I got two more. I don't know that I'm like running to bet Ben On.
I was just about to say he was one that I actually had in the other category because I saw him at shorter odds and I'm seeing them now. So
okay, he's 40-1 on MGM is what I see now. I just he's played here once last year, T12, gained 7 strokes putting. He's got the broomstick now. Did well at the Sentry with it. I think the approach play was a little knocking the rust off, maybe. He's working with Sean Foley. He's fired up. He's coming off the NyQuil suspension. Actually, me and Ben On had a funny exchange today on Instagram. Did you see it?
I did not see it. I think I saw something coming through.
You didn't see this? Dude, this is funny. I'm just going to take a time out and do this. So Ben On's our boy. We love Ben On. Great interview, by the way. If you've not watched our Ben On interview from 2022, it's still good. He's hilarious. He's wide open. Ben On is fantastic. We've talked to him a bunch of times at events. If Siwoo were as open to us as Ben On, we'd be the 3 best friends that anybody could have. But we love Ben On. I put a post out on Instagram about Siwoo, and then I put underneath it like a little asterisk, about Ben On, and I put a little Photoshop picture of Ben On, like because sometimes I'm like, oh man, poor Ben, he's been super nice to us, and he follows us on Instagram, follows us on Twitter, he comments on stuff, he engages with us, he talks to us at events. Siwoo's a little more standoffish, and still doesn't follow us on Instagram or Twitter, and sometimes I'm like, oh man, poor Ben On, like maybe he sees this, and like. He just thinks we don't love him. So I posted it, and he replied to the story and said, thanks, man. And I said, all right, here's the deal. When you win this year, Pat, are you paying attention?
I'm looking at this now.
I said, when you win this year, the deal is you have to be the first podcast interview has to be ours. And he says, can't guarantee the first, but we'll definitely do one. And I go, psh. And then I said, Nemjog esunin bad adil lisu ibsuninen. And he said, WTF.
Of course he did.
What I had done is I typed in unacceptable in the Google machine and said, how do you say unacceptable in South Korean? And I said, and he said, that line that you just sent said, quote, us, comma, South Koreans, comma, can't take that. He said, sounds like it was used during the negotiations with the North Koreans. I said, maybe it was, man, but dang, it's still unacceptable. Oh, dang, Ben On's hilarious. Anyway, I'm a little nervous, like with Ben On here, just because the approach play has been a little off, but I don't know. 40-1, I think he's close, man. Like I just feel like Ben On's going to win this year. I could see the back-to-back SoCo South Korean champions doing their thing. All right, let me throw one more name out in this range that this might be the one. And I will say, I don't feel good about it. I really don't. I don't feel good about it. In fact, people in the chat this morning brought this guy up, and I basically said no. But I'm willing to give it a shot if the weather is good. Andrew Putnam.
Oh, Now, Andrew is actually a good example here.
Of what? Of PGA Tour soy boy?
Well, I mean, it could be a little bit of an internal BTN model battle between us both because while
Why is that?
JJ Spawn is 11th, Andrew Putnam is 12th.
Oh dear. The BTN model is, you're right, I didn't even notice that, is getting us.
So,
by the way, a couple of great little nuggets in the BTN model if you're paying attention to what's important. Also, I should say this on the BTN model. If you're one of the folks who've already gotten in on the BTN discount, the model is updating Monday through Wednesday. So if you look at it on Monday, it doesn't mean it's going to be the same on Wednesday. We're trying not to change it a ton, but with information changing and with the information that we have behind the scenes of BTN, it can change up to Wednesday, depending on weather, depending on course conditions. So be sure to check that back. The BTN Sony 2024 model is updated, and for future reference, when the field is posted on Friday on the PGA Tour at 5 p.m. Eastern every week, the BTN the field is updated in BTN quite soon after that. So you can go to the BTN site and start messing around with the model for the next week. And then same thing when the DraftKings field is added, it's pretty closely updated. And then after the tournament is over on Sundays, that data gets pushed to BTN almost live and immediately. So good stuff to know there for BTN. Bet the number, link in the description. If you have not signed up, promo code TJ gets you $5 off the monthly and $50 off the annual subscription there on Bet the Number. The custom model has JJ Spawn 11, Andrew Putnam 12. Listen, I don't feel great about it because Andrew Putnam's ball striking is garbage. And he's got he's got a runner-up and a T4 here. Both of those years, he gained over 10 and a half strokes putting. Pat, I looked at it this morning. Do you know what his best two tournaments of his honestly, probably too long PGA Tour career are? Those two Sony Opens. Those are the two best tournaments he's ever putted in his career.
Well,
I mean, T40 at the Sentry this past week.
Maybe it's like a Corey Connors thing. He just gets on this course and loves the way it looks, and I don't know.
I'm willing to make the spam bet. Putnam and
I think
Spawn.
It's a good comparable bet.
They feel like the same person.
It's sort of is.
One has a higher BMI than the other.
Well, and Spawn does not have near as good of a course history here as Putnam does. So you got a little bit of an edge there. But I would say the form, if you look at the last few tournaments they've played, is somewhat similar, if not better, on Spawn's end. So
yeah, Spawn's got quite the form. All right, let's do it. So worst finisher out of those two does a big honking spoonful of spam on the show next week.
Now, are we allowed to do anything with the spam? Like,
Tony, I'm not eating a can of spam.
The can's only like that big, right? It's a small can, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like that.
Dude, I can't eat a can of spam, y'all. I'm just
like,
telling
can
you.
we put saltines with it or something? I see people do. Don't they do saltines with it?
You can cook it. You can fry it up.
Okay. I'll do a half a spam sandwich if I lose. That's the most I'm doing.
Can you eat it from the can? Or are you gonna? Is it like there could be some salmonella in there? Like you gotta cook it?
No, I'm gonna cook it. I've been watching the Netflix specials on food and stuff. I'm cooking it.
You don't have to cook it, but yeah.
Tony, you eat spam?
I tried it as a kid, just growing up. It was around, that kind of thing. I haven't had it in years, but yeah.
By the way, look at Tony's Seattle Supersonics hat right now. I just noticed that. That is fresh. Shout out Sean Kemp, Detlef Shrimp. All right, we'll figure that out. It'll be some spam, and the tiebreaker if they tie is DraftKings point scored. That's what we always do.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Up to 125 to 1, Pat. One of the trends here at the Sony, a lot of the winners play the Sentry before. A lot of the winners also have some good, at least one decent finish at the Sony prior. You got any names in here that check those boxes?
Well, if List checks those boxes, I have him written down.
You have List, okay. All right, interesting.
But I don't know. Let me look at his history here. Well, his history here is not good other than the top 15 back in 2017.
I don't know that I do think List. I'm excited for List's putting. I think he gained strokes 3 out of 4 rounds at Kapalua, and that's something to watch. You know, he's defending in a couple weeks at the Farmers, Torrey Pines. Yeah. Again, if the putter continues to kind of turn for Luke, it's a big thing. I don't love it here though. I don't. Love it here.
What about what are we going up to here?
Up to 125. What do you think about one guy I have in here that's had a T20 here and just played the Sentry, finished T22? I had him as a long bomb top 20, and he just barely missed it. Eric Van Rooyen. The approach play that he had in the fall was definitely not there at the Sentry this week, but I think that could be a little rust. He still gained 5 strokes putting. I love that. I think Rooyen at 125 to 1 is worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind EVR at all. You know, another guy in here that's, you know, you could probably get about 125 to 1's Tom Hoge.
I looked at him this morning. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I don't hate it.
I mean, he can win.
What's his number?
I believe 120. Yeah, 125 to 1 on PointsBet. It's the best number I see. He's actually 80 to 1 on BetMGM. So big difference.
I'd rather have EVR. I think I'd still rather have EVR. I'm taking Bermuda boy Ben Griffin at 90 to 1.
Now I love him, but he didn't fit your category that you were talking about.
He didn't fit the category.
Yeah.
He didn't play Sentry, but did T12 here last year, his first time out. You know, I mean, I just take him on courses where it's Bermuda and approach plays rewarded. I mean, he can have these spike approach weeks. I do think that guy. I mean, this kid led the Players Championship, I think, after 2 or 3 rounds. I think Ben Griffin is capable. I wouldn't say I predict a win for him this year, but it would not shock me. There's some names that would shock me. It would not shock me if Ben Griffin closed the door on a PGA Tour win this year.
No, not at all for me. I mean, he literally had a chance to when List won, right? So,
at Torrey, did Ben Griffin have a chance at Torrey?
Or was that Ben? Why did I get Taylor and Griffin? When List won in the fall, who was in that
Dude, you know I'm not going to remember that. Let's see. I mean, Ben Griffin finished 31st at the Farmers, so that probably wasn't him.
No, but when List won just in
what did Luke win again? He won the Sanderson.
And I think Ben Griffin, or was that Ben Taylor? I get them confused.
No, you're right. Griffin, T2,
yeah,
runner up. Yep, had a huge spike week there. 7 strokes on approach, 8 strokes on putting. And that kid can go low, man. He can go low. I like Griffin.
So Griffin was one of mine. List was one of mine.
Like EVR. Okay. Who else?
I like Tom Hoge in here. That's pretty much it. Up to 125 to 1.
Are you interested in Justin Suh?
Man, what a great guy. Except for the fact that he loves Subway so much. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Usually go down a few pegs in my book if you love Subway.
He is a huge Subway.
No offense, Tim Andercuss.
I don't mind Subway.
T41 here last year, despite losing strokes putting, which, I mean, for Suh, he doesn't lose strokes putting a lot. Dude can freaking roll the rock.
We saw that in person. Fantastic putter.
Yeah, we did see that in person, didn't we? I guess, you know, his biggest weakness is chipping. We also saw that in person. If the weather lays down, if the wind lays down, I kind of like Suh here. He's 110 to 1 on PointsBet. I don't hate it.
Okay. Do you think that now this could be a more of a DFS conversation for this guy? Because I just don't see him coming out of the gates winning, but he has so much just history as far as between the both tours, the PGA and the Corn Ferry Tour. He's been around a long time, and he's back on the PGA Tour. Ben Coles, who's at 125 to 1 on points bet.
He's the last name I have written down here in this range. I think Coles. This is a good spot for Coles, given his skill set on the Corn Ferry Tour. Another nice thing that is going down in the Discord. Our boy Spaz has put together quite the nice spreadsheet for Corn Ferry Tour graduates, PGA Tour rookies in 2024, with all their stats, where they went to college, their hometown, how old they are, some of these things that you need to know about these guys early on. I do think there's going to be it's going to be a valuable spreadsheet. So if you're in the Discord, it is in the research channel on the Discord. You can download that spreadsheet. Thank you to Spaz for doing that. Really good stuff there. And Coles fits the profile for Sony quite nicely. So yeah, I think he's worth a shot. I agree, probably more of a DFS conversation, but I think he's worth a shot.
All right.
Okay. Let's talk about some bombs. I do have some bombs. Actually, there's a couple bombs in here I like, maybe more even than the range we just went to. Before we do, Underdog has released PGA Tour season-long best ball drafts, and I am giddy. I'm giddy. I've already done one. I did one live today. I got made fun of a lot on it because we had some people from the Discord in there, but PGA Tour season-long best ball, starting with the Waste Management event. I think it runs through the BMW it runs through the Open. So I say season-long. It's from the Waste Management through the Open Championship. You draft 10 players. They take the 6 best performing players every week on the PGA Tour. So once the draft is over, you just sit back and you sweat it. You don't have to pick starting positions or anything like that. It's the beauty of best ball, and Underdog does it as good as anybody out there does, way better than anybody out there does it. So if you draft like best ball NFL teams and stuff like that on Underdog, it works the same way. They have a large contest out there now. It's a $10 entry, not a big commitment there. So much fun to draft these teams. I'm going to be doing a ton of live Underdog best ball drafts before February 8th when the contest locks. So if you've not already signed up for Underdog, we do have a link in the description of the podcast and video. You can use promo code Junkies to get 100% deposit match up to $100. That'll give you, at least if you just do $100, that's 20 entries. It's 150 max enter contest, but it's just a lot of fun to draft. And there's some strategy to it. I mean, you can't just draft all the studs. You want to have some guys who are going to play a lot of the lesser events so that you have plenty of guys to choose from week in and week out. When to take a live player. There's these Corn Ferry Tour players that one or two of them are going to pop. There's the DP World Tour players that now have their full PGA Tour card that one or two of those are going to pop, like a Bobby Mack or a Moronk or a Ryan Fox. Those guys are going to pop throughout the year. So there is some strategy to it. It's not just take whatever the ADP is on the best player available. They're a ton of fun. So check out Underdog, and the best ball drafts are available in most states. So even if you tried Underdog for the pick'em and it's not allowed in your state, there are plenty of states where pick'em is not allowed, but best ball drafting is. So check it out. Link in the description, code Junkies. Let's talk some bombs, Pat. I have a couple in here. They're both at 250 to 1. They're both on points bet. And the first one, I don't think I've ever bet the guy, but I think I'm just going to hold my nose and do it. And it's Tyler Duncan. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, the guy is such a dork. God, he's such a dork. I mean, he's won before on the PGA Tour. He's got a terrible record here, but he had a decent fall. I mean, he had T16, T18, T3 at the RSM Classic. I kind of think the RSM is similar to this place. It's not, you can't like overpower it. It's kind of a short ball striker, like hit it in the fairway, hit greens course, Bermuda throughout, make your putts, can be windy. It's a little bit like this place. And he obviously loves the RSM. That's the tournament he won. So I don't know, 250 to 1, Tyler Duncan, it just feels a little okay. And the next one is a guy who I was all over in the fall, had a great fall. He's coming off of an injury. And I think there's big things in store for this guy. 250 to 1, Vince Waialae.
Okay.
Notoriously I guess at least before his comeback, most notably known for hitting it far and being a really good putter. Well, since he's come back, he's kind of shown that the irons are a little better. The putter is still really hot. He's played here twice, miscut his first time, T17 in 2022. I like Vince Waialae at 250 to 1.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Well, I'll start with the guy you just mentioned a few minutes ago, and that's Bobby Mack. He is at 150 to 1. Now, I don't know if this is the greatest course fit, but a guy of his caliber, you know, that's played all over the world. I think you're going to see Bobby Mack a lot more this year on the PGA Tour for sure. So Bobby Mack 150 to 1. I just think, you know, a guy like that with his ability, it's a little bit too long of odds. So I'll go with that one. And then at 300 to 1, this man shows up pretty well in the BTN model at around like 35, I believe. And he's got a little bit of a hothead. He's been known to get angry at people. He can get triggered, somewhat like me. Alejandro Tosti! 300 to 1. Long shot. I mean, if that one hit, that would be crazy, but still.
Yeah. I do like Toasty, probably more for a top 20. All right, speaking of top 20s, let's get our top 26 pack and get out of here. Talking 2 locks a piece in the top 20 market. This is where I crushed it on SoBet last week, by the way. Good Lord, look at that graphic. look at producer Tony. And then one bomb a piece at 4 to 1 or longer. Pat, I will let you start with your 2 locks.
2 locks. I'm going to go with Corey Connors at plus 140. And I'm going to go with Chris Kirk at plus 150.
Okay. Okay. Well, I only had 3 written down. 2 of them were those 2. You know what? I'm going to pivot. I'm gonna double down on my spam bet. I'm going Putnam.
Oh.
Plus 220. A plus 220 lock on DK for top 20. Andrew Putnam.
Okay.
At my bomb.
Are you only doing one?
I'm only doing one bomb. Yeah, I'm only doing one lock because
okay.
I love I had your 2 written down. Yeah. My bomb. I see your Bobby Mack, and I raise him a 4 to 1 top 20 Alexander Bjork from the DP World Tour. I think this is a better course fit for old Bjorky boy.
That dude, too, on the European Tour, like, finishes top 20 every week. It seems
all the time. He doesn't even – Bjork doesn't even know that more than 20 people play in a tournament. Right. He doesn't – he just figures there's only 20 people in each event. The guy he hits it up a gnat's rear end every time off the tee. Super accurate. And for the DP World Tour guys that have never played Waialae, I just kind of, and it's their first event back of the season. Like, I just don't know that I trust the win. Like Bjork's 175 to 1. I looked at it, but I think I preferred the 4 to 1 top 20.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, maybe not double down because I don't really think that this guy necessarily wins at 300 to 1, but I do think Toasty is a good play this week. So I'll take him at 7 to 1, a long shot bomb to finish in the top 20.
All right. I'll get out of here on this. We texted with our boy Kiz today. He did a great job. This week. Would obviously love to have him in the booth. Would prefer to see him play great golf again and not even consider getting back in the booth for a long time. This is a place that he has played quite well in years past. I'm a little surprised. I thought you being the Kiz guy would hit him at 9 to 1 top 20. What are your thoughts on Kisner?
I mean, we saw him at the RSM absolutely grinding with his coach JT. And, you know, we both liked the fact that he went back to JT last year, which I think is a good thing. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think he finishes in the top 20. I think he could, like, if I don't know what his top 40 number is, that's probably what I'd be more wanting to look at.
Let's look on Bet the Number right now.
Oh,
DK doesn't have any up right now.
But I would definitely, I could see him definitely making the cut. And
what's a good week for him? Is it just making the cut?
I think a good week for him is a T35, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. That's the betting show. Don't forget to check out the DFS show. Pat is going to be paying his homage to our sweet South Korean prince, Siwoo Kim. God love him. May you have a great week and bend over your bookies. See ya.